6:41 is your time right now. Longtime Fort Worth Congresswoman Kay Granger's seat is up for grabs this fall. The top Republican contenders are State Representative Craig Goldman and John O'Shea, as you see here. While Goldman is the favorite to win, O'Shea has the support of Attorney General Ken Paxton. And as you can see here, he still doesn't have at least 51% of the vote, so that could be headed for a runoff. I also want to show you the Democratic side here. There will be a Democratic challenger in the fall, with Trey Hunt beating out challenger Sebastian Gerwig for the party nomination. With almost all the precincts reporting, as I said before, it does look like the Republican side is headed for a runoff in May. In the race for Colin Allred's former U.S. House District 32 seat, Julie Johnson appears to be the front runner here, but she's headed for a runoff as well. David Blewett won on the Republican side. And in Dallas County, incumbent Sheriff Marion Brown challenged by former Sheriff Lupe Valdez. If you remember here, Valdez stepped down from sheriff to run for governor in 2018. Marion Brown then stepped in to take her place. Three other people in the race: Roy Williams, Sam Muhammad, and Rodney Thomas. Brown leads Valdez, but again, you have to have 50% of the vote to avoid a runoff, and that hasn't happened just yet.
We want to bring in NBC5 political reporter and co-host of Lone Star Politics, Phil Prazan, for a deeper dive into some of these races. Phil, you're coming off a little sleep, but thanks for being with us this morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, big headline, breaking news for us coming out that Nikki Haley will drop out of the presidential race. Super Tuesday was super for her challenger, but not for her.
That's right. And it once again shows that there's really no room for anybody to lead the Republican Party other than former President Donald Trump. While Nikki Haley may have had the donor class, she did not have the voters. The voters sent a clear message, especially here in Texas, that they still want former President Donald Trump leading their party. Something that is interesting, though, that I'm going to be watching from now until November. Mark Cuban of Dallas Mavericks fame was quoted in several outlets saying that he supported Nikki Haley, but he would then vote for Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, on his deathbed over former President Donald Trump. So it's going to be interesting to find out how many of those Nikki Haley voters, roughly 20% in Texas, share that same feeling. Yeah. For those I'm watching specifically in Tarrant County and Collin County, those are important swing counties when it comes to November in our area.
All right, Phil, that race was at the top of the ticket. Let's go now to the most important race in the state, and that was in Beaumont, where House Speaker Dade Phelan was in a fight to stay in office, coming in second to challenger David Covey. Did this ultimately come down to Phelan versus Attorney General Ken Paxton? And then what can we expect in the weeks before the May runoff?
Well, to answer that question directly, Attorney General Ken Paxton plus his friend and ally, former President Donald Trump. Trump did endorse David Covey, and that ended up playing a big deal, forcing the third most powerful person in state government to a runoff. And the reality is, because a runoff will be somewhat of a coin flip on May 28th in the runoff election, there is probably a speaker's race happening right now. There is an ambitious state representative who is making phone calls already to try and make a run at Speaker Dade Phelan next legislative session in 2025. So even if Speaker Phelan survives this runoff, he will be in a weakened position. And it does show that there is at least some consequence for that impeachment attempt against Attorney General Ken Paxton, also putting Speaker Phelan in a vulnerable position. 9 state House incumbents lost, 8 were forced to a runoff. So the coalition that was governing the Texas House is really looking in a vulnerable situation right now.
I want to talk a little bit more about another group that Paxton went after in the Texas primary, and that was 3 incumbent judges who ruled against him 3 years ago, and it looks like he swayed voters to oust him.
Yes, and again, that shows the power of a Donald Trump endorsement. Former President Trump in the last week or two endorsed the 3 challenging judges to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. And that's probably what made the difference. I mean, most voters don't know who is on the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, but they see a flyer with former President Trump's face on it next to this person or that person, and they probably take that idea into the polls with them. And so Attorney General Ken Paxton was campaigning against 3 incumbent judges because they interpreted the Constitution to read that Ken Paxton does not have the ability to initiate criminal investigations that included voter fraud. That's an important issue in the Republican primary. Attorney General Ken Paxton wanted to start voter fraud investigations. It will be interesting to see in maybe a year, 2 or 3, a similar case will again present itself in front of this court, and they may make a different decision. Also, Ken Paxton has a criminal trial himself in April in Harris County, and these 3 judges that he just helped get elected may end up playing a role in that case as well if the party appeals it to a higher court.
So, Phil, we got the revenge tour of Paxton and got the revenge tour, so-called, of Governor Abbott over the school vouchers. Needless to say, you have plenty of topics to talk about on Lone Star Politics come Sunday.
Absolutely. There's a lot going on. We're still kind of seeing the details of it, of what mattered and what different, what didn't. We can tell you right now that it looks like Governor Abbott's effort to oust incumbent state House representatives was a little more powerful than Attorney General Ken Paxton. But insurgents, the challengers, definitely had a good night against the lower house incumbents. So we're going to take a deep dive into that coming up this weekend.
All right, looking forward to it. Go take a nap. We'll see you later in the newsroom. Thank you, Phil Prazan, our political reporter and co-host of Lone Star Politics.